Welcome to TalkGA, our podcast on anything and everything Grand Archive. I'm your host, Mark from Solar Games, and joining me today is, as usual, are my co-hosts, Eva and Fome. Hi, Eva. How are you doing this week?
Great. I love not having COVID. It's fantastic.
Must be nice.
Fome, how's COVID?
I don't know. How's your COVID?
Okay, well, I'm good now, so I'm not passing COVID to everybody, but I did give it to my whole family, so that's
no.
nice.
I still have a bit of a cough, but I'll try to keep it in for the podcast.
That's why we all got tea.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mark brewed it himself.
I grew the grass and everything. So, a little housekeeping item before we get started. This TalkGA crew is doing a spoiler video for ALC, Alchemical Revolution, which is the next set of Grand Archive. It is dropping in January. Our spoiler video will be available on this channel on November 2nd. So that's when it will be uploaded. I can't give you any specific times, but on that day you'll see it and you'll be surprised. It'll be a good one. Just also kind of interesting, we haven't seen the cards yet.
Nope.
At all. So we will be reacting to it just like we're all going to look at the cards together, basically. So we don't even know what we have. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
All right, so on to some quick hit topics for this week. Upcoming tournaments. So Eva, do you want to tell us about, like, I feel like Grand Archive just has so many events. Every episode we have it. We're either talking about past tournaments or we're going to new tournaments that's going to happen. So tell us what's coming up soon.
You say every episode, but we've only ever had one episode.
We're going to have like 500 episodes.
Treat every episode like it's your 100th episode.
That's right.
Yeah, so we are all very, very busy preparing for regionals. The FTC regional season is coming up. There's 13, I think, right now announced throughout the world, and we got one, the very first NorCal Regional in San Jose, California.
NorCal Regionals!
Yeah, the three of us are the stream team. We've been working pretty hard. Fome's been making overlays for the stream. This guy's casting.
Eva's making all the crazy videos and motion graphics.
Making videos.
I've been practicing my shoutcasting at home. You don't know about it, but yeah.
You'll be great. You'll be great.
Yeah. Next topic is going to be a quick market update on FTC. So as you guys might know, we had our FTC trade-in event. So this is the whole, the adjustments that the team, the Weebs team basically built to kind of staunch the bleeding of the FTC market crash. It actually worked super well. I think it made one of our friends a millionaire, basically.
The singles market, definitely.
Yeah.
Bedivere stonks.
Yeah, the stonks on
Bedivere, oh my God.
Yeah. So anyways, some quick updates on that is the dust has settled on that market. I took a look maybe about 3-4 days ago, and right now it looks like, everything is really reasonable now. Like, obviously Incarnate Majesty, being that it's a playable card, is still pretty expensive, like 15, 16, but it's no longer like $30, right? You don't have to pay like a lot. Like, it's not $120 to run a deck that runs this card. Bedivere has come down to, I think it's like $8 or $9. Now, remember, there is more trade-in events. So these Ascents that we're going to have at Auckland, and I'm assuming for Ontario, you will still be able to trade in a full set of FTC, full play set of FTC for more promo cards.
Has that been confirmed?
Yeah, I know Auckland was guaranteed. I actually thought about doing another set for Auckland and flying out to but maybe I'm not going to be that aggressive, yeah. But yes, I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to do it for Ontario. But that's assumption. But yeah, Auckland for sure. That was on the original posting as well. Okay. So if you haven't done your trade-in or you're missing a couple cards, I think my personal opinion is this might be a good market to do that. It does look like there's still more FTC cards out there than I guess we previously thought, or everyone who wanted to trade in has done it already. So yeah. All right, well, we're gonna jump right into our main topic for today. I think the first thing, this is probably what everyone was talking about, is the ban and restricted announcement. This is a pretty big one. So
been waiting for this one.
Fome, tell us.
Yeah, so to nobody's surprise, well, maybe just my surprise, they banned Avarice and they banned Reckless Conversion. There was kind of some noise that maybe it wouldn't be Avarice, it would be Ascension. I actually was advocating for this one.
No.
Yeah.
Ascension would have been too much.
No, I think it's still good with Avarice without Ascension. There's kind of like pros and cons to banning each one. I thought it would be Ascension because it really limits the design space for future swords. So like if you make a sword and it costs like 10, Like you can usually balance how powerful a card is by making it cost a lot.
Yeah.
But with Ascension, it just bypasses all of that. So no matter how much it costs, it can just whip it out. So they can never. That means they can never print a super powerful sword. But I think Siladar brought up a good point, which is the converse is also kind of true, which is having Avarice limits the design space for certain types of effects, such as flicker effects. So these are like Zephyr and other cards that, you know, bring things in and out.
Yeah.
So that means, you know, like if you have Avarice still in, then you have to kind of like ban 2 cards, which are like Ascension and
any flickers.
Yeah. So I kind of see the point there. And I think Siladar is also saying they don't intend on ever making Regalia that's that powerful anyway. So it's like not really going to be an issue. And if they do have powerful effects, they could make them have like specific class bonuses or elemental bonuses that lock it out of being Ascension cheated into.
Yeah.
So they have so many knobs that they could tweak to like make it not horribly like confining for the design space.
Okay.
So overall, I think it was a good choice. Same thing with Reckless Conversion, because, you know, it leads to basically taking another turn. And then
Hate it so much.
you just sit there, and then the other person's like, okay, now I'm gonna Reckless. First it costs 0.
Yeah.
And then they bring their entire hand back, and then you just gotta like wait for them to play out their entire turn again. So
Until they get another Reckless, and then
until they get
a third turn.
Do you guys remember that store championship where I played, I think, Justin?
Yes. Yeah.
And then he did that to me. And we were sitting, I mean, you guys were all watching because we were going OT, but he was sitting there 5 minutes on his turn because of three Reckless.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I thought I had him, but then he just got the right cards to loop another one.
Yeah, it was especially like kind of problematic because it was an untimed turns after time had run out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the Rai's like, well, I'm just going to sit here and think extremely carefully about how to maximize my Reckless. So yeah, good bans.
But yeah, I think like removing Ascension would change too much about the identity of how Crux plays, right?
It would be super different. Absolutely.
Yeah, whereas Avarice is just like,
It's just a sword.
it's just
But
an
like, I
extra
love
draw.
that like I take like some random like crappy sword. And then I get my mega sword out. You know, there's like some anime moments.
It
I
is
love about
very
Ascension.
Fate-esque, which I think people like about it. But I thought, you know, Avarice, it would be still fine as a late game sword that like, oh, I'm gonna like banish some floating memory and, you know, draw a bunch more two more cards. Because late game, there's not as much use for floating memory otherwise. Yeah. That's my justification for why Avarice was fine to stay in if you ban Ascension. But again, I can see it both ways.
Sorry, I interrupted on that. I got so excited about Ascension.
That's
Please
awesome.
finish your thought on Ascension.
Oh, I think I finished. I can't remember.
Okay. Does it have to do with Prismatic Edge?
Oh, I love Prismatic Edge.
I know, right? Like, can you imagine if they ban Ascension and you can't ascend to your best sword? Oh, it feels so weird.
Yeah.
Just pay for it, but...
No,
yeah,
I'm not paying for it. I'm never gonna pay. I'm never paying for it.
But you always begrudgingly Ascension into Avarice. You wanted to always Ascension into Prismatic, but like because it was much better to Ascension into Avarice, you're like,
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would always have like indecision of like, because I really like Prismatic, but I'm like, everyone does Avarice. Everyone says drawing cards is better. So I'm like, which one should I do? But now I don't have to make a decision
Yeah.
anymore.
Just go for the one that sparks joy.
Right.
Yeah, I think the problem with cards like Avarice is if the card is so much better than any other choice, it's a must include, and it actually gives less variety for decks.
Sure.
So now, like without Avarice, okay, pick whatever sword you want. Maybe your end game sword is not going to be Prismatic. It might be some other sword, and that I think gives actually more variety. Players have like more variance in their deck, and just feels more like there's options, choices. Not like I have to. These are 7 cards that are always locked in for my deck, right?
Totally, and you're already seeing that increase in diversity.
Yeah,
like within the Crux package, like people don't really play Infusion or didn't really play Infusion before. They very rarely played Spirit's Blessing, although Saban did bring in the spice at one time. But now, like the Lorraine deck is transformed into something completely different, and it plays both of those cards.
Fun.
It's like kind of like a multiple attacks,
Yeah.
put everything on my big sword and like draw a bunch of cards deck, which is like seems to be a lot more on brand anyway too.
Yeah, or the other one that we talked about the other night, right? Why not run the in-soul into Majestic? Like it's a like, but now that's opened up so much more avenue because we don't have to do. In fact, we can't do loops anymore, the way that we did it before, anyways. So, yeah, I think it's a good change. All right, so moving on to Proxia's Vault. It's another big part of the BNR announcement. You want to talk about Proxia's Vault, Fome?
Yeah. So first, what is Proxia's Vault? It's basically a way for them to inject brand new cards immediately.
Yeah.
To have a very quick impact on the meta, to address particular issues that they're observing. And these cards are proxiable by anybody. Yeah. You could print it and just take it to your store and play.
Yeah.
And if they're having the desired effect in the future, they'll actually put it into the main set of something. They're not meant to stay around forever. It's like a year. I think it's 1 year since they're out. They're legal. And so with this BNR announcement, we got our first Proxia's Vault cards. The first one is Scepter of Lumina, and the other one, what is it? Stone Scale Band.
Yeah.
And there are some really interesting cards. Scepter of Lumina is a water regalia.
Would you like me to read that card?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Help me save my throat.
Yeah. All right, I got you. Scepter of Lumina. So both these are material deck cards, regalias. So Scepter of Lumina is a water material. It has a materialization cost of 1. It's a regalia item, Cleric Scepter, and it reads, as long as each player controls a water element champion, you may activate this card from your material deck. You still pay its cost. Whenever your champion levels up, deal 4 damage to target champion you do not control. Spicy. And then for 5 and banish Scepter of Lumina, you can draw 2 cards.
Love it.
Okay.
Water players.
Yeah. Let's go.
I mean, it speeds up games. So tell us about what the purpose of this card is. Why was it created? Why is this the Proxy Vault card?
I think Eva, you can attest to how long water mirrors typically last, right?
Yes, we know very, very well.
Mm-hmm. I always ask Eva, did you finish game 1 yet?
Oh my god!
I'm like, so you're 0-0
time, and then we're like, all right, Eva, what turn is it? And you're like, we're still on game 1.
Our local game store was like, do you want us to change it from BO3 to Best of 1 so that we have a better chance?
But we have a lot of people that love water at our locals. So yeah, this card was printed to speed that up. You'll hopefully get in 4, 8, maybe 12 extra points of damage. So it's as if their starting health is half.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's actually speeding it up that much.
I don't know. I've been seeing players just purely get the 2 cards off of it, which I think is interesting. It's they don't want to keep it around.
It's just value.
For the damage? I don't know.
Yeah. Most fireballs, we can do 11, 12 damage. We feel really good. 2 of those, right? So that's what we're looking for in game. And by the time you get to level 3, you have already done your 12. So you only have to just make 12 more.
In my deck, I do 28 damage with Scepter of Lumina. I've been playing the crap out of this card. It is so much fun. It is basically the key missing piece from Fog Xander, which is a deck that I've been trying to play since the beginning of FTC when they released Innervate Knowledge. If people recall in the first TalkGA, I was like, oh my god, I really want to break this card with Xander Korhazi's Chosen, which you keep releveling and deleveling the level 3 so that you become Stealth and Spell Shroud every turn.
So annoying.
Your opponent can't kill you. And now I don't even have to play things to kill you. It just eventually will kill you by itself. Okay. And it was a lot of fun. Mark and I had some good games. With,
do you agree?
I mean, True Sight, but yeah.
Dude, you have barely any True Sight.
No, that deck had 0 True Sight. It's true, yeah.
And Fracture Eyes. There's Sword of Seeking, pretty much on site, and Fishing Accidents are for the you know, Majestic Spirits or the Carls.
Carls.
Get all those True Sight allies out of here.
Yep. Yep. It's true. Cool. Second card on the Proxy's Vault is the Stone Scale Band. I'll read the card to everybody so they know. It is a 0-cost material regalia item, Tamer artifact that is Terra element. So these are advanced elements. Class bonus on enter. Discard up to 3 ally cards from your hand and or memory and draw that many cards. For 1 and tap, until end of turn, you may activate ally cards as though they had fast activation. Let's talk about this card.
Ooh. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Good for Terra.
Good for Terra, yeah.
Good for Terra.
More than good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had the privilege of playing against this card. Ruminating was actually running this in his deck against me. And when I saw this card, I was not impressed. And then when I saw him play it, I think it was game 1, I realized when he didn't do something, he forgot to banish, by the way. So he didn't actually use the first part of this card at all. He thought it was any time. It was supposed to be on enter. I realized this card is insanely good because the way that it feels if you play it, it actually can make it feel almost like a Reckless Conversion plus a Avarice kind of combined together.
But you don't draw cards.
You do. You banish 3 allies from memory. Then you draw 3. What does that feel like? Reckless Conversion, right?
Yeah, but you don't go up on cards.
And then you don't go up on cards, that's true. But then you can start playing your allies, right? And if your allies, let's say there's some allies, right? Because allies is not beast or animal, so any ally. Let's say you have allies that say on enter draw a card. Now you can go up on cards. Then you recollect, and then you play your actual full turn. So there's a lot of shenanigans you can do with this card. And remember, it costs 0. So you go to Terra, you just grab it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're going to, go to Terra, pay some cost. You don't have to worry about that. You don't need floating memory. You're not going to hurt your memory by going down cards on this card. So I think it's a very good card. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It like basically doubles your turn. You, on Recollection, play half of your allies, recollect it all back, play the rest of your allies.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of what Tamers are looking for is that like game ending. And I think they've gotten it because one of the weaknesses of Tamer, especially when they get to level 3, is they can, of course, cast their like very expensive cards, but then their turn's over. They have to kind of go to next turn and do something. This card has made basically Tamers go, well, I can just end it on this turn because I can do a mini turn and then do my full turn and I win.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Tamer was lacking the explosiveness that the other classes were capable of. Yep. Where like Tamer's like thing was it would play one thing and then it would get killed, and then they play another thing and it would get killed. Yeah. And now it's just like boom, 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 recollect, boom, 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 you're dead.
Yeah. And because it's fast speed, all this stuff is happening in that pre-recollection phase. Yeah, your opponent's just sitting there watching this stuff. Yeah, if they put a bunch of cards down into memory because they think you can't have explosive turn, they're absolutely wrong. Like basically what I realized.
Yeah, I fell for that too. I'm like, what can you do? Like, I've got this game down, and then I died.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to next topic, we're going to talk about Ascent Houston. Okay, so for everyone on the audience, this podcast is supposed to be released like 3 weeks ago, right? Yeah, and of course, COVID crazy. Plus people like just everything got in the way of us actually getting this podcast done, but we still felt like it was good to kind of share our experience about Ascent because we didn't do that officially in any other platform, means, whatever. So let's talk about general overall experience.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, today is literally the very first day we can film this podcast since Ascent. Because right after Ascent, you got sick. Yep. And then we went to Europe.
We were traveling.
We were traveling, and then you got sick. And then like literally, like you just stopped being contagious. So we were like, we gotta film our podcast. Go, go, go.
Yeah, this is like as soon as I was negative, we're like, okay, time to film.
Yeah.
We're not trying to delay the podcast.
No,
this is really the first time we could do it.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so general overall experience.
So fun.
So fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
So special.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like, we can go back, like, let's say 20 years from now and be like, yeah, we were there for the first official GA event, right? I mean, like, I think I remember seeing Roger on the first day. It was like Friday. He was sitting there, like, holding down the fort. There's a bunch of, like, boxes behind him. I was like, oh, man, I'm so scared. Like, what if, like, it's real, but, like, what if, like, this is not enough room? Do we, like, prep enough? Is the banner looking good? Like, he's so worried about all the little details, right? How it's gonna run, we're gonna have enough people. What if sign-in takes like 3 hours and we can't get the tournament started? Stuff like that. It's and it all kind of worked out. and their team is small. So I was very impressed. I was very impressed for their first event.
They work hard.
Yeah, these guys, they're really they're pushing themselves to make the players happy.
Yeah, for sure. So there were 2 main events at Ascent, Path of Steel and Path of Silver. So I was participating in Path of Steel, which is like the competitive event.
Top 32.
Dude,
What?
congrats.
Top 32.
Top 32, 18.
18.
18
Yeah,
forever.
you made day 2. That's
did make
that's
day 2.
incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. I got lucky, I think. I did not see any of the true champion gaming decks until like top 32. I saw one person not from their team playing it, and that player definitely was a little bit more new. And so there were moments where I saw like mistakes, but it's like, it's like top 32. So I'm not really gonna say anything during the game, but afterwards we had a conversation. I told him like, hey, if you play this order, that would be a little better, etc. So there's that. I almost like got DQ'd out of, maybe not the
The story. Let's tell the story.
Apparently I cause problems everywhere I go. So for funnies, I thought it'd be funny if I filled out my deck list card as Mark, first name Mark.
First name Mark.
Yeah, and then last name is from Solar Games or something like that. Anyways, like,
Is that not your name?
Yeah, is that not your legal name? Did your parents not name you
probably
Mark from
not
Solar
Mark from Solar
Games?
Games actually is my real name. And then of course, like, I don't see my name on the list before like game 1, right? And then I'm like, so I walk up to the judge corner. I'm like, hey, I don't see my name on there. And then one of the judges was like, no problem, we'll add you in there. And then so he added Mark Solar Games. So I was like, oh, cool, it's good. And then of course I sit down at the table that I'm supposed to be at for game 1. And then within about 15 minutes later, Rometta comes over and says, hey, Mark, you're supposed to be playing Ver at table 32. And I'm at like, let's say 60 something. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so then I look and here's what happened. So I got added as Mark Solar Games, but I never got confirmation that which one I was being used, right? And so I actually didn't see when I was looking through the list, I did not find Mark Solar Games. I found Mark and my real last name. And then, so I sat down where I was like, well, if there's another Mark, my last name, at this event, they're gonna tap on my shoulder and say, I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, I thought it was another Mark.
We all thought it was another Mark. So I was like, well, I have to sit somewhere, right? And then that never happened. So I figured that must have been what they entered, right? They figured out my name, real name, whatever, and they entered that, which...
So you never gave it to them? Or did you?
What do you mean?
Your real name?
I didn't give it to the
Some
anybody.
weird doxing thing happened.
No, but this is Eventbrite. So like when we buy tickets from Eventbrite, I think they use your... Anyways, so he's like, you're supposed to be playing Ver at table 32. So I stand up, and this whole thing, basically Ruminating was like, we might have to give you a match loss. Not a game loss, match loss. And right in round 1, that would have been devastating.
Yeah, you
sending me to lower brackets. If I hit any deck that's like anti my deck, I'm really looking bad, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, I really tried to do all the right things. Luckily, when I think, Nog did, like, head judge Nog was like looking at the situation. He says like, how about we do, and basically we worked it out where I just played the rest of the tournament as my like real name, and then that was fine. So ended up okay. I did not get a match loss. I did win my game 1, which match 1, round 1 is pretty important. So yeah, it's good. Met a bunch of really great, awesome people. So there's a guy named Peter. I met, apparently he's a TO in like Dallas area. Super funny guy. If you ever meet Peter from the Dallas area, or if you're watching, great, best conversation. And because it was like round 7, everyone's tired, right? And he's just like so jokative the whole time. He's like very funny, and I was like, this is great. You sit down with people sometimes, and you know it's gonna be a good game because people are so like funny. They're so like they're just gonna have a good time, right? And even though we're battling basically for top 32 spots, it was still a fun experience.
Great to see.
So it was really good. So thank you so much, Peter, for the great experience. That's Steel.
Awesome.
Let's talk about Silver.
It was so much fun.
Path of Silver was unexpectedly like the most hyped thing.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't expect that from Path of Silver. For people who don't know what that is, Path of Silver is basically the competitive collecting tournament. And if you're hearing that, it sounds like, oh, then it's just going to be a competition of who's the biggest whale. But it was far from that.
Yeah.
And of course, like, yeah, you have to be kind of a whale to be even a contender. But like, just because you spend a lot and have a big collection doesn't mean you're gonna be like a winner or even the top 8.
Yep.
It's really about maximizing the points. And so this is how the whole thing works. Each card has a point value.
Yeah.
And so you can just sum up, the point value of your cards. Foils are worth more than non-foils. CSRs are worth more than that. But layered on top of that are set bonuses, which is certain groupings of cards will give you additional points. And so these are like combos. And nobody knows what the combos are until the day of the event. So now it's like a real battle of wits. Like, who has the ability to figure out how to maximize these points based on a collection? And it's actually like a pretty complicated mathematical problem if you think about it. So whoever can come up with the way to calculate this maximum score within the shortest amount of time is very likely to win. So you need not only need a pretty sizable collection, but what most people would do is just like pool collections from a bunch of people, so they would be like a team. But you'd also need like very good statistical thinking to be able to pull that off. Well, our friend Lee. Yeah, got first place.
Lee.
And I mean, if you know anything about Lee, he's like completely deserves it. Like this guy is. I mean, yeah, he's a programmer, and he's been thinking about like how to solve these kind of problems for quite a long time.
Yep, he and Benton have been preparing for silver for like a while.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different strategies you can employ. Actually, he was poring over code, basically the entire first day of Path of Silver. And I swear it was like in that room, it was like the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where like it was like, I need a Merlin right now. Who has a CSR Merlin? And then like people will like be like, no, I got it. I got you.
Yeah. What about the combos? So was it beneficial to try to max out all the combos? So if you like, was the winner the person who did all the combos?
But so the combos are worth different amounts. Okay. So you want to get the highest number of points with the least amount of cards. It's because so the thing is, you have to submit a collection of 50 cards, which is not a lot. So with that small pack of cards, how do you maximize your score? Yeah, and it was just like so much energy in the room when they were doing the award ceremony.
That was so hype.
Yeah.
I think we'll never forget that feeling.
Yeah. I would never have expected to see that from a collection contest.
Right.
That photo of Lee, where he's like about to drop all his prizes because he got so much like boxes of stuff, whatever, right? The trophy and everything is it's insane. Eva, what do you think about pricing? So I think you participated in silver, right? Do you feel like the pricing was good for Path of Silver? Would you recommend people do Path of Silver?
Well, I don't what was the pricing even? We haven't.
They made
it.
There was that playmat, right? The Inspiring Call playmat. I thought it was really nice.
I don't think we got that.
What?
Did
the
we?
Inspiring Call? Yeah, we have the playmat. But I think.
We did.
But they have to ship us the.
We got them. They came in the mail.
Oh, okay.
I got them safely stored away.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, I haven't actually opened up the package yet.
Okay.
Tell us what the cards are. I don't even know what did you get? Is there a card?
Yeah, it's the Inspiring Call. It's basically if you have to pass a certain number of points. If you pass that points, basically you get a bunch of stuff. I don't know how they did this so well. It was like just generous enough so that almost everybody could get it, but you have to like put a lot of effort into it. So that was kind of like a stroke of genius.
Yeah. Like I am pretty excited actually to do Path of Silver again. I feel like it was a really fun challenge, and I am a little bit biased because I like organizing data. It's like putting together a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And like spreadsheets. It was my jam for some reason. That and also working together as a team with all our friends in a hotel room, just like being like, who has a foil? Blah blah blah. Oh, I have that. Like, oh, this set is better than this set. Oh, I have the card for that. Just like the energy was so much fun.
Nice. And then, did you do you see people trading for cards for Path of Silver? I when I first saw this thing, I thought that was what's gonna happen. Is there's gonna be a lot of like trading on the floor? Was there a lot of that happening?
I mean, we were borrowing a lot of cards from each other, but I will say that Lee bought at least one card after he figured out his optimized list. He was like, I need to buy this, and he went downstairs and came back up with his purchases.
God, that's so crazy.
It was crazy.
What card did you buy? Curious.
Maybe we should.
Are we allowed to? Should we say?
Let's just keep it on the just in case, because this is like, I think that because he identified this before anyone else was part of the reason why he got first place.
So much secretive.
I don't know.
It's like more secret than our deck list on Steel.
No, exactly. It's like even more skill intensive than. I'm joking. It's not that. It's not more skill intensive than Path of Steel, but it's surprisingly skill taxing.
Sure.
And we want Lee to win Path of Silver at Nationals, or was it World? It was either Nationals or Worlds.
Universe?
That had
Grand Archive Universe competition.
I'm a world champion collector. Like, just imagine having that title.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's the goal.
Cool.
Oh, and they said they would make it harder in subsequent versions of Path of Silver. So the combos might have more creative combinations or multiples and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing is that our friends got really passionate about the Grand Archive lore. There were a lot of little Easter eggs hidden within the themes.
Yeah.
That was super fun to discuss. Like just like even little things like the fact that Crux site was listed in Merlin's theme set just confirms that the person in Crux site is Merlin and not Lorraine. Just stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's so clever.
like a little fun Easter egg.
That's awesome.
And like a tale of two swords. Like it sparked an entire like Kani has this long spoiler doc with all of their story speculations. It's great. Like,
okay.
If you haven't read it, have you read it?
No, but now I'm like, maybe we should invite her on a future podcast. As a special guest, tell us about stories. So kind of wrapping up Ascent, favorite Ascent moment.
I thought it was really special, just like how much everyone was there to celebrate the game. We saw a bunch of cosplays. I think that was really special. Like this guy right here dyed his hair to cosplay Mordred.
It's still blue. And you're wearing your Lorraine-inspired outfit.
My Lorraine casual-inspired outfit. And then Connie cosplayed Bedivere. There was a Sylvie cosplayer. The energy was great.
I really liked meeting Hanchu. Because I was cosplaying as like her special promo art of the Anime North casual, like modern version of Mordred.
Yeah.
And getting to meet her, and then she was like really appreciative of like someone cosplayed her art and had to talk to her a lot.
That's
and
kind of cool.
Took a picture together, and she's so nice.
Yeah.
And
Didn't she give you a hug like the day after?
Yeah. I was like, yay! I made my event.
Yeah.
It's very wholesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of wholesome, getting to meet people in real life that we had only known online before or like looked up to.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Right, like wasn't there like a whole thing where people writing their screen names on their shirt? Or sorry, like a name tag, but it would be like your Discord name, not your real name, right?
That makes sense.
Like I met DeJesus randomly.
Oh yeah.
I was like at the ticket redemption booth. DeJesus like, hey, Mark from Solar Games. I'm like, DeJesus? He's like one of the few people who have his like real face on his avatar, right?
That's right.
I was like, wait, you're here? Because the whole time he was still typing. Remember, during Ascent, the GA Discord was really dead, like really dead, right? But DeJesus was still like, hey guys, like here, let's talk about this. Like he was keeping it alive. So I thought he was not here. It was a really cool moment where I was like, wait, I thought you're here. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to like, keep everybody like involved, tell people what's going on in the Ascent. It was really nice. Like people were really caring about the community. Gio was really cool. Like I think I walked into the hotel, Gio's like, Mark. I'm like, really tall guy. There's an avatar that's really tall. Gio? And it's like, he's Australian accent. I'm like, oh, it's Gio.
Yep.
And it was like I recognized it instantly. It was cool. Like just seeing in Lime, meeting people in person. Cool. It was great. Yeah. That's definitely. But also, I think we shouldn't just ignore our dev interview. That was really special.
Yes.
I actually really enjoyed filming for that.
Yeah.
That was such a privilege.
Yeah.
To get 4 out of 6 devs on the team.
We were promised 1.
Yeah.
You guys know this, right? Until like basically until the moment before, we were promised 1. I'm like running around every day. I'm like, how about 2? How about like 2.5? Can I get like 1.75?
We really owe it to those guys. I'm super grateful that they were willing to give up their time to be able to chat with us.
Yeah. I was embarrassed, actually. I felt like my questions weren't good enough for that interview because I didn't realize we were going to have so many people in high quality panel. So
Yeah, you were great.
next time we do this, we're going to have better questions. Anyways, cool. All right, so that wraps it up for our Ascent. I think another thing that came out of Ascent, I think we should just cover real quick for everybody, is the reveal product info on ALC, Alchemical Revolution. I still can't get this right.
Alchemical Revolution.
Alchemical Revolutions. Okay. Revolution or revolutions? Revolution. One word. Okay. No S. So in this set, there will be 3 new champions / classes. And as far as we can tell, they're saying these are the final 3 classes. We suspect there could be new ones in the future, but at least for now, it wraps up, like, I guess, what was promised, right? The range, like things that they kind of already spoiled on other cards: Guardian, Ranger, Cleric. And then there will be 3 new elements as well. These are advanced elements, not basic. Next episode, a little preview for that, we will be going a little bit deeper into the actual cards of ALC and talk about the new mechanics and those kind of things.
Spoiler season.
Spoiler season, that's right. We have to spoil our cards first and see what we got. But yeah, anyways, were there any cards spoiled so far that caught your eye? Go in any order.
You can go first.
Sir, Dahlia.
Yes.
Dahlia is my new girlfriend.
Dahlia. All right.
Dahlia is a really cute card.
She is so cute and has so much utility.
Okay. Let me read the card to everybody
please
so that
do.
people know. Dahlia, Idyllic Dreamer. It's a water element ally. Has a activation cost of 3. It's a unique ally, Ranger Automaton. Right. It has a class bonus of on attack, look at the top card of your deck. If it is a water element card, you may put that card into your graveyard. Okay. And then Dahlia has range X, where X is the amount of water element cards in your graveyard. And just to explain range to people, range is basically a mechanic that's saying if a ally is in a mode called distant, that means they're kind of like backline if you think about it, then they can do X more, I think it's like plus X for that turn, right? Until the end step. So X is where they just get more damage. And this ally is a 1 attack, 3 defense ally. Right, please comment on why Dahlia is your favorite card.
Have I not already said she?
Yeah, the art alone
cute.
is
the art.
Beautiful.
Oh,
well,
okay.
and she has a lot of utility.
Okay.
I like that she I mean, you get to, well, it's not really glimpse, but you get to look at your card, you get to possibly mill the card, you possibly get to do really explosive damage, which is what water was really lacking.
Yeah.
She does so much.
What the heck? Why does water have the biggest single swing attacks in the game?
Because
The first Erendite, and now we had this
before.
Displace.
Yeah. That's why it displaces 2
Right?
good.
You Dahlia.
That's why they gotta ban displace.
You get displaced.
No, this card artwork is incredible. It's probably one of the nicest arts I've ever seen in Grand Archive.
Yeah.
Her design is looks straight out of Guilty Gear. She's wearing a bullet dress. It's really a nice looking card.
Oh, sorry. I have a very important opinion about ALC,
Okay.
which is that Dahlia, Rose, and Crimson Tear are a robot idol group, and I will take no arguments on the matter.
Basically.
Who's the singer?
All of them?
Oh, so this is not one of those where one is good looking, one is the singer or / rapper, and one is the dancer.
Do you follow idols?
Oh, no, it's
K-pop?
true. Who's the main vocal?
Yeah, main
Who would be
vocal.
the
Who's the
main vocal?
dancer? Who's got?
I guess Crimson Tear is the visual.
She gotta be the dancer.
She's the hot one, right? Oh, she's the dancer. Oh, because she's got a leotard going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dahlia maybe is the singer or actor.
I can see just the cute member.
Yeah.
The
The
cute
personality maybe.
Yep.
Rose might be the main vocal.
Or the rapper.
Team lead.
Rapper.
Team captain.
I can imagine their idol group name being automation or something. All caps, but stylized with some symbols in between.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Prismatic, because all 3 colors.
Yeah.
Continue.
Anyway, thanks
Continue on.
Thanks for indulging me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for indulging us. Fome, do you have a favorite card?
So nothing is super jumping out, but I thought one that was kind of intriguing is the domain as
The Sanctum?
just speaking of domains.
Yeah.
The new domain that was revealed It seems quite different from the other domains that we've had so far.
Let me read the card to our audience. Sanctum of Esoteric Truth. It's a normal element domain. Activation cost of 2. Domain Cleric Throne. Whenever your champion levels up, you may put 2 cards from your hand and or memory on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's it. So kind of like an Orb of Regret type of thing.
But the fact that that's it, there's no downside.
There's no upkeep.
That's the first domain with no upkeep, which is really sad because that means Right of Realm is like even more useless. But the leveling up and down thing got the gear spinning.
The Fog Xander.
But I kind of, it's probably not good enough because it doesn't do anything on its own. And so like if you play this, you're down a card, but you haven't gained any advantage yet. And then you have to level up and down, which means you have to spend even more cards to do it. So like you're gonna spend a lot of cards to try to get this kind of a looting effect, which is really strong. It's putting, looking at 2 cards every time you do it is not trivial. But it's gonna be difficult to say if it's gonna be good or not.
Yeah. Right. So we do have a question this week from our viewers. So this is on, I think, YouTube. This is on YouTube. Before I get started on that, if you have a question for TalkGA, easiest way to do this is if you're watching on YouTube or any of the platforms, then make a comment in the comment section, #TalkGA, and then your question. Or if you're listening on a podcast platform, then you can simply email solargamesllc@gmail.com. Again, just subject TalkGA questions, and then I'll know it's for this podcast. So the question from Walter D02 is, I don't necessarily think so yet, but is it possible there are too many options and variety in GA? I think a little bit more specifically, it seems super difficult to lock down and build sideboards accordingly because there is no one deck at the moment, and I don't think there can be. Feels like there's always a counter to one deck you may play. Is that healthy? I'll pass this to Fome, actually.
It's kind of a good problem to have, too much variety. Actually, I wouldn't have agreed with this premise, just like maybe like a couple weeks ago. But I think post bans, there is actually going to be a large amount of variety, and I think it's kind of a feature of the game that it's supposed to feel impossible to sideboard for every situation. And it's like that with other card games too, right? Like you're not supposed to be able to have an answer for everything. You have to kind of make a meta call and be like, well, I think most people are going to be playing this, so I'm going to stack my sideboard with the answers against this. But I think this person brought up something really interesting, which is there seems to be a lot of strong silver bullet cards in Grand Archive that is, I think, not as prevalent in some other card games, whereas other card games have like soft counters. For example,
give us an example of a silver
Fractured Crown. They made like a bunch of trinket regalia that just hose one color. And like
Viridian Trinket.
Yeah, Viridian Trinket is disgusting.
It's gross.
And I think we were worried about it being strong. It's actually the strongest trinket, right? Everybody's running it because it's like, oh, my opponent's playing water. I'm gonna pull this out and cost 0, and then like you're like, unless you can do
0 cost domain.
Yeah, like it's a really strong trinket. So I think maybe just kind of a flavor of this game that you not only are there really strong silver bullet cards, you always have access to them because they're regalia. It's like as if you could like always search your sideboard and like put it into like whenever you needed, put it in. But it may be because the strategies are very powerful. In Grand Archive, there's like, if you, for example, didn't have Tithe Proclamation before the bannings, it was so easy to just draw a crazy amount of cards and win. I don't know. Like, Eva, what do you think? Like,
I would kind of disagree with the part where they said that there is no one deck at the moment. At least I don't know about right now, but like definitely pre-ban, there was absolutely one deck.
Which one deck was it?
I think Fire Merlin.
I mean,
right?
it
didn't win
Ascent,
Ascent, but that's because True Champion Gaming specifically foresaw that everyone would be running a certain kind of Merlin, and they were like, well, we're gonna play the deck that counters it. But like, sorry, this is I was wondering whether I should talk about this when we were talking about the bans or not. But I was kind of looking at the numbers for like the champions that people played at Ascent, right? Yeah, and it was like 107 out of 207 people were running level 3 Lorraine or level 3 Merlin in their deck list.
Yep.
So like over 50% of people were running Crux.
For Avarice.
It's crazy.
It's basically one card that drove us all there, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like 50% of people were running one advanced element when there's 4 advanced elements.
How many Sylvies were on the? Do you remember?
Total?
Yeah.
Not that
like
many.
Less than 10. I think there were more than 10, but like maybe low 2 digits.
Yeah. And I think there was like one Allen.
Of course, there's always going to be one Allen. There's always going to be one Tristan. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know what the thought, but I don't think it's related to this comment anymore. But just like how people were saying that during some mirror games, like it was very predictable who would win. Like people were saying like, oh, if it's Rye versus Rye, then it's just whoever goes first, whoever gets to level 3 first. Or Merlin's also like whoever gets the Crux first, whoever gets the loop first. It's like very obvious who's gonna win.
Yeah.
So I think just like getting rid of that predictability is probably.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to sit down and feel like, oh fuck, I already lost this game, right? Yeah. Like you always want to feel like you have a chance.
Yeah. I'll just add one perspective from the like just playing a lot of decks. I felt like prior to the ban, actually this deck variety was actually worse in DOA, I think, than in FTC. DOA felt very like either you're playing Rye or you're playing Lorraine
with Insole,
and it was like basically Lorraine was wind or fire. There was water, but not really. And then you're playing Rye, right? And it's just fire Rye. There's not even a wind Rye deck list. And then everything else is just not even viable. Like you can play it, you could win sometimes, but it's not viable. FTC really, I think honestly, we got to rock, paper, scissors. FTC was wind and fire Merlins. And then you have your Rye still. And then you had a low to the ground like Lorraine. And of course, True Champion showed everyone with a like wind Lorraine that's Ally Rush, right? I felt like with 5 decks, it's actually already fairly healthy. And like a lot of card games, they are aiming for about like 5 to 7 viable decks. It was very, very good already.
Okay.
Set 2. It's only 2 sets.
Set 2,
that's
and it was like
good.
Okay.
They didn't have to ban any card. They introduced 2 cards basically that changed everything, right? The Merlin and the Tithe. That really, shook the format a little bit. I think what you're going to see now, instead of having rock, paper, scissors, which is a nice balance, is you're going to see like green rock versus like blue scissor. And how does that work? It's like a really interesting new balance that we're going to start seeing. Like, how does Fogxander stack up against, I don't know. Like
Fogxander is not a real deck. It's a meme.
Kind of, but not really, right? Like if, for example, how does Fogxander stack up against a Sylvie deck? Both kind of going late game. Can it like just burn out by leveling, de-leveling, and Sylvie can't hit because there's no true sight? Like, how does that work? I don't know. And that I think is the most interesting. Are we going to go from 5 to 7 viable decks to 12? That would be extremely healthy for the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, after the regionals, we'll have a better idea. But I actually think we're walking into a very healthy meta right now.
Super exciting.
Well, I think that's going to be it for us. Thank you all for listening. Reminder, this is TalkGA, and we discuss Grand Archive and all the aspects of it. So we'll see you next time. Stay classy.
Stay classy.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Excellent.